Hello everyone. January is finally over. I think today is February 6th, and by the time this video goes up, I think it will be, I don't know, Saturday, but I just know that it will be Saturday. But yeah, I am not feeling so well, so I'm gonna try and make this wrap up as quick as I can. But yeah, I read about 4 books this month, and I started one by the end of the month, but I will talk about it on my February wrap up. And yeah, it was a pretty good reading month for me. I think I've just read the average amount of books that I read, but I think that February will be a really interesting month because the booktube games are happening, and I already finished a book, which is really surprising. But yeah, let's get started. The first book that I finished on January was The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I feel like I read this book ages ago, but I didn't. I actually finished it. I started it by the end of December, and then I just proceeded to finish it on January, so I wanted to count it as a January book. I really enjoyed this book. I don't think I know that this is like a holy grail in the book, just in the booktube community in general. I really enjoyed it. Objectively, this book is just amazing, and I cried at the end, so I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really do recommend it. And for those who don't know, this book just follows the life of a girl named, I forgot her name. Wow. I think her name is, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Lysel? Like Lysol? Or Liesel? Something like that. But I'm gonna call her Lysel. Oh my god. Lysel. And she basically is a German girl living in a Nazi-occupied Germany. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to see the perspective of the actual German people and those who were opposed against the atrocities that the Nazis were committing. And I just found this just a beautiful story, and one that you guys should totally read if you haven't, especially if you don't particularly enjoy historical fiction. I think you should really give this one a try. After I read The Book Thief, I started reading Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This book was so good. And I really think that this one is better than Six of Crows. I feel like Six of Crows was a book that introduced you to the characters and introduced you to just certain aspects that the Grisha trilogy hadn't explored, like Ketterdam and how things work there, and the perspective of the different people that live in Ketterdam about the civil war that occurred in the Grisha trilogy. So yeah, but this one is a bit more it's more character driven in a way. You get to see a lot more character development, and it's just an amazing, it was so good. I feel like, again, like I said in my last wrap up, I just marvel at how Leigh Bardugo just makes and creates these heists, and I feel like she's a mastermind. And I continuously see interviews of her and how she admits that this was a really big challenge, but the way that they are crafted is just amazing. And I just think about these characters all the time. It's not every book gets me so invested in the characters as Leigh Bardugo did. I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was a bit of a surprise. I picked it up because I was like, you know what, I want a quick read, so I will just read this, and that is Restore Me by Tahereh Mafi. If you have seen my previous videos, then you will know that I don't really like the Shatter Me trilogy. It was a series that I enjoyed, but that I had a lot of problems with, especially with the character of Warner. And yeah, surprisingly, I read this book in about a day and a half, which I almost never do, and I feel like I have to give it credit for the fact that it did really captivate me and kept me engaged in the story. Again, I really don't like Warner, but I do enjoy how their relationship kind of developed in this book. And yeah, I don't know, I think that I wrote a review about it in Goodreads that I explain more in depth about this book. I didn't really enjoy the first 100 or 150 pages of this book. I felt like it was just talking about the same problem that I had with the way that the trilogy ended. So yeah, I think that I explained myself better in that review, so I will link it down below and you can totally check it out there. But I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars, and I have to admit that I really enjoyed it, and I will pick up Defy Me. And finally, the last book that I picked up is Wild by Cheryl Strayed. I just wanted a palate cleanser. I never pick up nonfiction, so I wanted to pick this one up because it really sounded interesting. This book follows the story of Cheryl Strayed, who is a woman who lost her mom, and she basically got divorced as well, so she decides to, just as a way to, I don't know, start over, she decides to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, going from California to Oregon, I believe. And this just follows her journey, and this was so good. And it's just so amazing and inspiring to know that this actually happened, and that Cheryl really accomplished the things that happened in this book. And the particular thing that I really enjoyed about this one is that you genuinely feel like you're going on the trail with her. You are constantly in her mind, you know what she's thinking, you know how hard this is for her, and even at some points the book gets really slow, and it kind of makes you feel the way that she is feeling. She's frustrated at times. It's a 3-month hike, and the thing that just surprised me about it is that at the end you genuinely feel so proud of Cheryl, and you feel like both of you have just been going through this journey, despite the fact that she was the one who did the Pacific Trail. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I do want to give a warning though, there is a particular scene in here, if you don't like animal violence. It was really graphic, and it was really, I will say, disturbing. I cried for how disturbing it was. So if you are a bit sensitive to those type of scenes or moments, I really think that you should research this book so that you can see around what pages that moment happens, and so that you can avoid it and not see it or read about it. But yeah, I really think that you should pick it up, especially if you really like memoirs or stories about women who have just started over from nothing. I feel like for people who really enjoyed, for example, Eat, Pray, Love by I forgot her name, Elizabeth Gilbert, I think that you will really enjoy this book. This book is less spiritual than Eat, Pray, Love, but I think that it's a really enjoyable read, and especially for those who really enjoy nonfiction. So yeah, that was my January wrap up. I can't wait to film my February wrap up because I feel like it will be a really interesting one. So yeah, I wish you all just the best of reading for this month, especially for those who are competing in the BookTube games. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys with the next video.